Today we are on to the second message in this 5-message series that I've called Original Intimacy, contemplating the elements in nature as a profound doorway of spiritual renewal. You know, I've been contemplating that question: how can we be in this world, gather our strength, renew our energy, find resilience in these very turbulent and uneasy times? And the spiritual way of renewal that most of us know and are taught is through meditation and prayer. You know, get quiet. Lift your thoughts beyond the world, beyond time and space. Experience that which is unmoving, unchanging, the omnipresent, absolute reality, the source of our life. And then realizing that we are lifted and we are renewed. It's like what we just did with meditation. And then I want to know, because I am a meditator and you are meditators, how do we sustain that soul renewal from our practice in these times? How can we keep drinking from the well of spirit in those moments when we're not meditating and we're not praying? I know the sages have instructed us, well, pray all the time. You know, as Paramahansaji said, think of God all the time. Remain mindful, remain in a meditative awareness, be in the world but not of it. So I understand from that what they meant was to be active in the world while all the time anchored in the awareness of spirit, of omnipresence, of God, of that reality, whatever you call it, consciously aware of the divine self. But here's the rub. We get distracted. We do. We get distracted, we get pulled off, we get lost, we get overwhelmed. So how do we stay tuned in? That's the question that motivated me to bring forth this way of contemplation in the world. You know, how can our life itself become the prayer in the world? Like Rabbi Heschel, when he was marching in Selma, he said, "My feet are praying." And so how can we be the prayer ourselves, our lives, our very lives, radiating the power and presence of spirit with every step we take? So not overcoming the world, not rising above it, but entering and actually being the holiness of spirit in the world, as the world. That's what I'm up to. And luckily, I'm supported by all the saints and sages who have taught us that absolute reality is not only beyond the world, but is present everywhere in it, and through it, and as it. One life, one power, one presence, expressing as all that is. So, right here, where we are, how can we be awake in this oneness? How can we not fall asleep to it and become depressed and stressed and overwhelmed? So here are some teachings from the Bhagavad Gita, the words of the Lord of Love speaking as Krishna. I am the wetness of water. I am the wetness of water, the radiance of the moon and the sun, the sound in the air, the sweet fragrance of earth. I am the brilliance in fire, and I am the life in all beings. There it is. Or rather, here it is. These elements that he has just described that pervade all of nature, all of life, everyone and everything, earth, water, fire, air, and what is called ether or space, connect us in the oneness to the great web of life. Paramahansa Yogananda would sing a beautiful chant that then victory to nature, victory to spirit, and victory to nature. So this is really remembering that victory to spirit, victory to nature. So by connecting to the one web of life, right where we are, that is held together by the union of spirit and nature. It's right here. Then the elements teach us how to be here and how to care for ourselves and for one another and the earth. Awareness of the elements can help us realize the divine presence and our connection to it right here and now. And we can also learn from their essential qualities by contemplating. What can earth teach us? What can water teach us? What can fire teach us? So first we explored earth, and today, now, we're on to water. Supreme good is like water. That's from the Tao Te Ching. The supreme good is like water, so cultivate clarity, perseverance, and flow. And today, don't you feel the timeliness of this? Like, how can we be with the way things are? Well, we have to develop the skill of water. We have to learn how to flow freely, how to let go of our fear, and learn how to flow through these conditions and through these times, right? John Muir, beautiful naturalist and mystic, said, "The rivers don't flow past us, they flow through us." Rivers don't just flow past us, they flow through us, vibrating every fiber and cell of the substance of our bodies, making them glide and sing. The water purifies, it heals, it transforms, and our thirst, of course, naturally connects us to water, makes us aware of it, of its life-supporting, nurturing power, and our soul is soothed by water. You know, they just sit by a stream or a lake or walk by the ocean, listen to the rain, feel the mist of the fog on your skin, and it's so soothing. In nature, water flows to low places. And it gathers its power and it nurtures life. I want to think about what water can teach us for these times. Water shows us how to realize our soul power and become a nurturing presence. I would say today the central message of the element of water for us is this. 1, know who you are. Be fully present. Know who you are, be fully present, and learn to let go so you can flow. Know who you are. Or my teacher would say, know what you are. Be fully present. Let go so you can flow. So it brings us to what I would call 2 useful sadhanas, or spiritual practice. Be still. Be still so you can see clearly. And we'll talk about that in a moment, how water does that, right? Be still so you can see clearly. And then 2, learn how to let go so you can consciously flow. You can consciously move on where you need to. This is very reminiscent, those of you who study Yoga Sutra, it's very reminiscent of Sutra 112, which is, the answer to how do you get the mind to be quiet? And I'm reflecting here on how do we stay awake, which is the same thing, right? How do we not dwell in the past or the future? How do we stay present? How can we quiet the mind so we actually can meditate? That sutra says 2 things. Meditate regularly, practice stillness, and the other part of it is cultivate non-attachment. Learn how to let go. Those are 2 skills. Those are the skills that, when I look at the way of water, it's teaching me that right now. When water is clear and still, it can be a mirror. It reflects. Environmentalist, activist, Buddhist, amazing woman, Joanna Macy. She's written many books. One that I especially like is out in the 30th anniversary edition, World as Lover, World as Self. In that book, she tells the story of Akshobhya, the Buddha, the Buddha as Akshobhya is the one that a person encounters when they're entering a bardo. A bardo is like a space or a gap between the worlds. It's an unknown place, an unfamiliar place. And it's strange and it's uncomfortable. Kind of like where we are right now. In between. Not where we were, don't know where we're going. Do you feel that in your own life? We feel it globally, but also individually I feel that, in between time. The uncertainty. So Akshobhya's element is water. And as he stands there at the portal to the bardo, he holds up a mirror of wisdom. And that mirror of wisdom accurately reflects the way things are and the way that we are. And the teaching that is offered is, don't look away. It can be very difficult to look at the way that things are right now. And I think also to look at the way that we are right now. Most of us see the way things are, and then the next thing is, I'm not doing enough, or I'm too distracted, or I don't care enough, or whatever the conversation is about ourselves is also there that we'd rather not have to grapple with. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I feel powerless. All those things are part of that. So there's this mirror that's being held up. We look at the news and we want to turn away. We don't want things to be the way that they are. But to find our strength, and this is it, to find our strength, to find the source of strength, to find resilience, to be open to grace, divine, supportive power and presence, to find that, to access that, we have to start with where we are. And that means we start there by seeing the way that things are and seeing the way that we are. But we don't stop there. We start there, we don't stop there. What we do then is we look deeper. That's the key. We look deeper. We don't turn away, but we look steadily and deeply into the mirror of wisdom. And when we do that, then we can see the essence of life. We can see the holiness of it all, the wholeness of it all. We can see the connectedness in the web of life. And knowing that connectedness, that right where we are, right where everything is happening, Spirit is present. Spirit is the life of all. Knowing that, remembering that, we can then begin to have a sense of possibility, of empowerment, by turning towards and seeing clearly. When the mind becomes still in meditation, or when it becomes still in a grace-filled moment in nature, just out walking, the mind becomes quiet. The faculty of discernment, what is called buddhi, it's no accident that it's close to the word Buddha, becomes like a mirror. The faculty of discernment in the mental field becomes like a mirror when the chatter of the mind gets quiet. Then we can see the way things are in the light of the spiritual essence that we are. We can see the way things are in the light of the essence of the truth of what we are and what this life is. So no longer distracted by the waves of restless thought activity, then we experience the clarity of deep seeing. Like clear water, deep seeing. The Buddhist teacher, master Thich Nhat Hanh, just had such a beautiful way of expressing that capacity to see deeply into the nature of things. He said, when you see a sheet of paper, you should see the clouds in it. What did he mean by that? Well, he said, when you see a sheet of paper, you should see the clouds in it, because without the clouds, no rain. Without the rain, no trees. Without the trees, no paper. And this he termed interbeing, a way in which that we can see with eyes open how everything exists together. And so now the task before us is to look into that wisdom mirror, see the way that things are all connected, recognize then the profound potential that we have in this hour. Because we're not powerless, we're all connected. So still and pure, water is a mirror. But water also needs to move, otherwise it becomes stagnant. And the same is true for our spiritual practice. We need to meditate. We need to get quiet and still and see clearly. But then we need to take that clarity and express it in wise action. Otherwise, we contract, even though we see clearly and we know the truth We have to find a way to flow, a way to express the wisdom that is revealed to us. So we take our mirror wisdom into the world by living what we know. But this requires us, of course, to practice being awake. Awake, being present to what we're doing, connecting to the earth, to the elements, being fully present to one another. This is why we're yogis. This is our work. Not just meditating in our cave, but being fully present to the earth, to the elements, to one another. Because the strength that we need is found right there. It's right there. Someone shared with me the other day a beautiful bhajan that, a chant that asks the question, "Oh water, tell me, what color are you?" And then it answers, "You are the color of the Creator. Whatever you are mixed with, that you become. Whatever you are mixed with, that you become." What a beautiful teaching for us. Whatever the mind dwells on, that we become. When we dwell on worry and fear, we become worried and fearful and contracted, and we feel powerless and overwhelmed. When we dwell on connection, we dwell on wholeness, we dwell on the power and presence that is right here and now, we expand. And when we do, we feel that resilience of spirit, and our divine potential can express. I want to wrap up with just a favorite rendition of the first psalm. This version was written by Stephen Mitchell. "Blessed are those who have grown beyond their greed and have put an end to their hatred and no longer nourish illusions. They delight in the way that things are and keep their hearts open day and night. They are like trees planted near flowing rivers, which bear fruit when they are ready. Their leaves will not fall or wither, and everything they do will succeed." I want to say a couple things about this. Blessed are those who have grown beyond their greed. If we're looking through the lens of yoga, we can say, blessed are those who are no longer grasping, trying to hold on to what they want, how they think things should be. That clouds the vision. Blessed are they who can let go so they can see clearly. They put an end to their hatred. They put an end to aversion. Don't want this, don't want that. And they no longer nourish illusions. What is the great illusion? The great illusion is that we are separate from the source, and that whatever is happening apart from the source. The source is omnipresent. They no longer nourish the illusion that they are separate from the source, or that life itself is separate from the source. Delighting in the way that things are means delighting in the power and presence that is always there. Keeping the heart open to that day and night. It's not the things, it's not the circumstances that are the delight. It's the delight of the presence. Remembering that. So this is the second of the sadhana, of the water sadhanas. First is getting still, getting clear, letting the mind be a mirror to see the way that things are. Deep seeing. And then the second part is learning how to let go and flow. And we know that water does not flow backwards. It's kind of basic. It doesn't flow backwards. It doesn't hold on. Water seeks the low places. The low places are the places of possibility, the openings of possibility. When we do that, to be able to move into the opening of possibility, we have to let go of our illusions. We have to let go of clinging to the past, getting caught up, tied up in what we want and how we want it. We have to let that go so that we can take a small step, whatever that step is for us. You can take a small step forward with clarity and love. And that's how we flow. To let go. Let go of thinking that what we do is not important. Let go of thinking about what we want. Let go of our fears. Let go of our aversions. And take one small step into that low place, that little place of open possibility. Baba Hari Das, a modern yogi, told us succinctly how to do this. He said, keep God in your heart and move on. Keep God in your heart and move on. We could say, keep God in your heart and carry on. Get quiet, be present, let go of clinging, and take a small step. The blessings of the water for the day.